and the service is free to the people using it. So that's cool. It's a lot of like low income clients and stuff. And I'm in the insurance clinic, in which I haven't like started that yet. That starts tomorrow.
So what will you be doing in that class? Just helping them figure out how to like obtain insurance, or utilizing the insurance they have, or...
I think it's mostly utilizing what they have. Like it's, if someone's in a dispute with their insurer or needs help like filing a complicated claim or something like that. Yeah, but it's a really cool like service that the U provides to the community. There's several different clinics. There's like the immigration clinics and bankruptcy clinic and things like that. So it's a lot of people take advantage of that. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it was cool. All of my classes are really small. There's not a lot of interest in the environmental sector, it appears, in
Really?
In this year of, like, at least in my year. I don't know if that's typical. A little strange to me because we have an amazing environmental and energy staff, like Professor Class, who's the energy professor. She's like, a rock star. And yeah, we just have really amazing people in that area. But
I mean, are those environmental law classes traditionally just really, really small, or did the professors literally say this is one of the smallest classes we've had?
They didn't say, and I don't know, but just compared to everything else. And the interesting thing about them, too, is that, so like energy law, for example, is there are probably only around 6 or 7 law students, and then half the class is undergrads who are actually taking it. They had to do like a prerequisite course, and it's part of like a business law minor, so they can take it. They're graded on a different curve and stuff,
right?
But they're allowed to take the course. And then there's grad students who are in like the Humphreys School of Public Affairs and things like that, which is actually kind of a cool like interdisciplinary sort of place to get into. But it's really different as far as the law school format goes. And then yeah, there's at least one or a few grad students in my land use planning class, and then in environmental, I think there's some grad students too. So they're more like interdisciplinary areas because there's a lot of people who are getting like policy grad degrees and stuff like that who are interested in those areas, and not as much of an interest as like I mean, if you looked at a class like BA Corps or tax law or something. BA Corps is like business associations,
right.
Corporations. Those are going to be huge classes, and mine are around 20 or less.
Right.
But I like it. All of my professors so far seem amazing, and yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. Actually, I had an insane summer, so I'm almost feeling like my semester, even though it's going to continue to be insane, will be slightly less insane than my summer.
That's good. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess for me, so I only have I took a foundations course during my orientation, which was 2 weeks ago. And it was just kind of a foundations of justice. So we talked kind of about ethics and about justice in general, and kind of how we see justice and what's just. It was actually taught by a criminal law professor, and so it was really interesting hearing him talk about justice, especially since he had so much experience being a criminal defense attorney for people that did really heinous crimes. And then right now I'm currently taking torts, and I'm taking a lawyering skills class. And actually, I think I like my torts class maybe a little bit better. I probably shouldn't say that because I think my lawyering skills professor listens to the podcast. But the torts is actually it's taught by the dean of the school. And I think he really tries to make it kind of entertaining, and he's pretty funny. He's obviously extremely smart. He is pretty tough, especially when cold calling. And I actually got cold called on, I think it was Friday.
Oh, how'd it go?
It went pretty well. I was actually thinking even before the class that I really wanted to get cold called on this case that I was reading because it was a really interesting case about this guy who was we're learning about false imprisonment. He was kind of this older retired gentleman who was basically false imprisoned by this healthcare facility. And so I had read a lot about that one, and so I actually knew that one pretty front to back, and so it went pretty well. But I must say that I think I'm older than all of you by a fair amount, and I have a lot of work experience, and I'm pretty used to like standing in front of large crowds of people and speaking. I've stood in front of like our vice presidents and senior VPs, the CFOs of companies, and kind of spoke about X, Y, and Z. And actually, when he did call me, I did feel a little bit of nerves when he did cold call me, but I did pretty well. I obviously wasn't frozen up there, but I got a couple things wrong, but everybody does. So.
That's right.
So that was that was kind of my experience these last 2 weeks. But the torts professor, he was definitely really great, so I really enjoyed his class.
Anything nice you want to say about your professor, your lawyering skills professor?
She is amazing. She's the greatest professor in the universe. So, Professor Cornell, if you're listening to this, great job. Excellent course. So we're going to take a really short break right now. So we will be right back.
Before we begin, please visit us on social media at Cold Call Lawcast. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Tell us what you think of our podcast or ask us a question. We're also on iTunes. Has anyone asked this question yet? I guess I don't really know. I don't know if that's true. So we don't have any hate mail. Send us hate mail. I want hate mail.
Welcome back to the Cold Call Lawcast. So right now we're going to discuss some current events. Recently in the news, there's been a lot about business and economics and the law. And then also there's been some other legal news that's been going on both currently and over this last summer. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was Amazon. Amazon Prime Day was only a couple weeks ago. I know everybody loved that.
Boo.
And so there's actually been a lot of accusations thrown at Amazon about their workers' rights. I know Bernie Sanders has been really pushing on Jeff Bezos to really address some of these worker concerns and some of the accusations just because of how they've kind of treated their employees, especially warehouse employees. So.
It's just like the Walmart of the internet of 15 years ago. And hey, Jeff, how about you take like 120 billion maybe of your like 170 or whatever billion dollars.
I think he's at $150 billion right now.
Yeah.
Pocket change.
You just take like a big old chunk of that and like, pay people well. And, like, get them health care and, like, do good things for humanity. I know you won't, so it's pointless, and
I think it should be said that when we talk about somebody's, like, net wealth, that's not, like, the actual, like, cash that they have on them. So the net wealth of Jeff Bezos is based on the overall wealth of Amazon, which is based on a mixture of things like their assets and cash flow. And so it's not actually like his money that he can just play with whenever he wants, but it's like his general overall wealth.
Seems to me as if it's considered his wealth that he owns in that company, couldn't he just turn around and transfer that wealth ownership in the company to the people that work for it? Couldn't he just make it a co-op like a lot of
he could make it. Yeah, I think he probably could
today?
make it a co-op. But when you talk about like wealth, like if you were to talk about like my wealth, so I own a house. And so if you talk about my wealth would be, whatever I make plus the worth of my home. and other assets that I have. But that's not like I can take that money and just play around with it however I want.
You're right.
Like the cash that I have.
I need to apologize, Mr. Bezos. I'm so sorry for insinuating that you should have to liquidate like one of your 10 lake homes in order to keep someone from dying from like stage 4 cancer. That was really rude of me. I should not have made that kind of like assumption about your wealth.
Thank you.
You shouldn't have to. I assumed you just had like just mattresses full of cash and that it would be really easy for you to distribute this money. But oh my God, like who wants to call a realtor? Like you would actually have to sell something to like liquidate this wealth so that you could then transfer it to someone else. You're right. That's too much work. I retract everything. Go Amazon.
There we go. Thanks.
Department of Amazon. Trump should create it. It'd be great.
I think he's actually been pretty critical of
He's been
Amazon
very critical
as well.
of it, too.
He hates him because doesn't he like own Washington Post?
Yeah.
It's a fun little rivalry. It's like real world, you know?
Yeah. With the president and the richest man in modern history.
That's why he hates him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could
he's
be.
not.
He wanted that to be him.
That's got to be it. He's
Yeah.
like, you have more money than me. Your money phallus is bigger than mine. And like that makes me
What was that? A money phallus?
money phallus.
Okay,
It's like, truck phallus, money phallus. I think you get what I'm saying.
I get it.
That's how Trump
Yeah.
sees the world.
So the article that you sent us, they were talking about how Amazon kind of had some backlash to what Bernie Sanders has said, like saying, well, you can, we welcome you to come visit any of our distributing facilities or whatever to verify with your own eyes the conditions of our workers and stuff. But have we actually looked into see if maybe people have tried to do that and then Amazon just wouldn't let them in the door? Or is that just something that is more just like a publicity stunt just to get, people riled up over whether or not Bernie Sanders is following up with what he said that he was planning on doing?
Probably more of publicity stunts, but because I know one of the publicity stunts that Amazon is doing is that they're trying to get their warehouse people. They've set them up with their own Twitter accounts, and then they just like tweet out all
the good things that
the great things about Amazon.
Like we're not just sheep.
Paid a little bit
stuff.
extra, and they really need that.
It's like those like really.
Survive.
It's like those actors in like those mega churches. Like they pretend that they're like super worshipers and like get like seizures from the good faith of Jesus.
Right. And so,
They
yeah,
have
I think...
GPS on their drivers now. They're like...
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can imagine all the vehicles
They have their own
would have
delivery
GPS.
service now.
Yeah.
So there's no more holidays. Like, there's no more... You don't get stuff on Sundays or Labor Day
Right.
or... It's just like Amazon
It's
delivery.
so convenient,
They have,
Hannah.
yeah,
It's
they've
so
got like little
convenient.
beeper collars on all the people. And yeah, no, it's like I've ordered stuff from Amazon too. I'm a total hypocrite. It's like I try not to, but
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
they're
They own everything, and like
it's really
a lot of
becoming a
subsidiary
concerning,
companies.
I think, like behemoth that.
Yeah. I did see in this article that I just read like 5 minutes ago, skimmed. It's from Salon. It's titled Amazon Fires Back at Bernie Sanders. Allegations of poor workers' conditions at fulfillment centers. So after Jeff Bezos was like, yeah, just ask any of my employees. Sounds like Sanders did start up like a form that people could submit online that asked, have you used public assistance such as food stamps, Medicaid, or subsidized housing in order to make ends meet? And did you struggle with the demanding working conditions? So it only narrows it down to 2 questions, but they did like ask people to come forward for those specific.
I think
And it
that...
was anonymous
I
when people
Should
answered.
be anonymous.
Or
you know,
was-
Yeah, I would
it
hope
doesn't have more. Well, I'll click on the link.
I wonder if it
Yeah.
asks them for their
Oh.
Amazon email or anything.
Yeah, if I got sent a survey like by my employer,
It
it
says
was like,
first
"Hi, are you
name."
happy here?" You know.
Yeah, but it's not
Of
by
course,
the
they're gonna
employer.
say,
It's
yeah, like whatever it is
by
to keep your job.
Bernie Sanders, United States Senator for Vermont. But yeah, you need to enter your first name, last name, zip
Oh.
code, email address. When did you work there? Please share your story.
Right. So you're not.
So it
gonna
is
do it if
more
you- yeah.
like you can go in and type in whatever you want. But
Yeah, but I would never do that if I
Yeah,
actually
if
worked
you're at-
there.
if you were currently working there, but if you were already out of a job there, bet there's some angry folks.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
Maybe a
I'd-
couple happy ones.
But
who knows?
whistleblowing acts are protected under, and employers can't retaliate against people who whistleblow against what they find as injustice in the system. But I mean, yeah, I would still be kind of cautious about being completely forthcoming of everything that was going on.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus-
as a young person who's worked in several different jobs in this country, even thus far in my life, like Yeah, have I kept quiet about injustices in my workplace because I was scared for my own like well-being and like ability to pay my rent? Of course. I think, and I'm consider myself a principled person, but like that power, that power imbalance is just almost insurmountable.
Right. Like, I mean, like there's such a disparity. Like, you don't have the means to to genuinely boycott. Like, I can't lose any hours at my work, or else I will not be